This episode of Dr. Drew After Dark is brought to you by Proactiv and Candid, and we'll tell you more about that soon. But right now, let's get on with the show. Hi, I'm Dr. Drew, and this is Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children. Hey, everybody, welcome to Dr. After Dark. Don't forget to keep calling us at 818-253-1693. We appreciate those voice messages as well as the emails at drdrawafterdark, drafterdark at gmail.com for your emails that we'll get to shortly. And also Dr. After Dark merch at merchmethod.com/Tom Segura. And I had a conversation at the breakfast table this morning where my wife was saying, can you get some different merch? We have to always just sell the Prolapse Uranus stuff. I'm like, I agree but you'll notice it's merchmethod.com/Tom Segura. So thus the unusual material on my t-shirts. It's my privilege to welcome today Kelsey Cook. Kelsey, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You bet. Where can we find you? Give us your plugs.
So you can find me at kelseycook.com for all tour dates.
With a K, Kelsey.
Yeah, yep. COOK. My podcast is Self-Helpless Podcast. It's myself, Taylor Tomlinson, and Delaney Fisher. It's like three type A comedians who go into a different self-help topic every week and decide if we think it works or if it's bullshit.
What percentage actually works?
We've been surprised actually we've done it for a couple years now, and there are definitely a handful of things that have really resonated with us. But then there's a lot of horseshit out there.
There's a lot of horseshit because it's still the self-help. Is it like books you evaluate or websites
we just had like a Reiki master on, like energy healing, that, the crystal woo-woo shit, if that's real or if it's not. We want to do one on acupuncture soon, but we also do a lot of like anxiety, depression, OCD, cleanses, but we're not coming out. We're not.
Here's what I'd like you to do with the cleanses is just because they're always cleansing toxins. So I'd like you to take a blank piece of paper and a pen and slide it over to the person and go, just write the chemical formula of one of these toxins. Just the chemical formula. That's all.
Oh, Christ.
Just one of them. And then
giving me all sort of PTSD from high school chemistry. Like, I don't
if they can come up with a formula, then the stoichiometry of how it's removed. Exactly. What's that chemistry? Of course, they don't know shit. It's all BS. There's no such thing as a toxin. They can't even tell you what the chemistry is of it. You forget the biochemistry and the physiology and the very complex mechanisms that are required to pull something out of the body. What is that something? What is it doing?
Yeah.
How is it doing its bad thing? And just write the chemical goddamn formula down of whatever it is. And they'll usually write something like, mercury or whatever mercury formula is. It's like,
No. So you do think like the Beyonce famous cleanse that's all bullshit, where it's water, lemon juice, honey, cayenne pepper?
Yeah,
you just shit blood.
I'm
a little skinnier, I guess.
But you're not eating, so you feel lighter afterwards. And by the way, you take a coffee enema or something with a high solute burden, you pull fluid out of your body. I feel better afterwards.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, take a Lasix, take a diuretic. It's the exact same thing.
Wow.
So whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of stuff. People feel better. I don't want to take things away from people if they
right
how they feel. But there's stand in front of a bookstore and there's sections dedicated to self-help for the last 40 years. And you would think we'd have some improvement in our mental health if that were the case. No, I'd say exactly the opposite.
No.
Exactly the opposite has happened. So I just say evidence suggests that self-help hasn't really helped very much.
It's multi-billion-dollar industry. That's why we're so interested in it, because it's like it keeps on growing. Like you said, that means that not everything is really getting permanently fixed.
Shocking.
Shocker. But we do like the idea of like, okay, well, maybe we can take one thing from this book that resonates with us and can make us feel a little bit better. But, we're not...
Just read Hegel. Just read philosophy. You'll get much more out of it. Trust me. It's much more challenging and better for your brain. My God. Yeah. But the whole self-help thing has morphed into this motivational world. Do you guys get into that too?
Oh yeah. We did an episode on Tony Robbins and that Tony Robbins documentary.
And people make all kinds of claims about how he helps them and stuff. And I'm certain it feels like it helps them, but does it sustainably help? That's always my question.
Agreed.
Yes, you walk out of there where you have all this intention. In 6 months, where are you? Are things really different?
It's a lot of Band-Aids, I think. a lot of temporary fixes where it's like, okay, this feels good now, but
feeling good is not necessarily improved mental health, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Coke feels good for a lot of people.
Thank you. Pretty much everybody. Unless you have panic disorder or something.
That's true.
But it's more that it takes work to make real change. Real change kind of hurts. And by the way, if you really change, I want you to put this away. Okay. If you have real change, it makes you feel a sense of grief and depression, because we naturally are wired up in such a way to resist change.
Yeah.
And because who we are as a self is very much embedded in who we are as a body, and we'll fight against the body getting attacked, right?
Right.
So the self is the same way. And when the self changes, we feel a sense of loss and grief when we morph into somebody else. Otherwise, you're not really changing.
That's fascinating. Yeah. That's very true, because you're grieving that past self.
Exactly.
And a lot of people like to stay in, even if it's
it's yourself. It's you. And you have an attachment to that. And I did a lot of therapy, and I remember at one point I looked at my therapist. I said, I think I've been depressed for about 2 years, 3 years. I've been and there's actually theorists that call it the depressive position, which is a position of growth. You're just sort of loss, change.
Yeah.
And your body and your brain doesn't like it. That's why you resist it. It's one of the reasons you resist it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's very addicting.
So all the people, but you still feel the depression. But if all the people that come in, just first question is, I want the molecular formula, number one. Secondly, do you get depressed as you're going through these changes?
Yeah.
Because if they're not, they're probably not really going through much.
Not really digging into everything they could. So. Yeah.
Speaking of digging into, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Spokane, Washington.
I was just there. I was just in Idaho about 2 weeks ago.
Were you? Oh.
Sand Hill. Idaho, that big, huge, gigantic lake out there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Most of the time when I say Spokane, I think people assume Seattle or something. They picture. Oh yeah, no. Spokane it's much closer to Idaho, and was at one point the meth capital of America, which I think you would appreciate.
Lovely.
With your background, yes. So kind of an interesting place to grow up.
Well, Spokane, think more Montana. That is really, because even when people think Idaho, they think Southern Idaho. Think Montana. That's really more the way Spokane. And by the way, go 20 minutes west and think Mojave Desert, which is weird, right?
It's
Western,
wheat field, it's a lot of nothing,
But Spokane's beautiful. It's green.
Yes.
It looks like I had this distinctive feeling about it, and I only drove past it this time. But I stayed there when I spoke at Gonzaga University.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go there?
I went to Washington State University.
Which one?
WSU, so in Pullman.
The Pullman one.
Yeah.
The real Washington, the Cougars.
The Cougars, yeah.
Because I spoke at Eastern Washington State, I think, which is right outside of there, right?
That's 10 minutes from where I grew up. I grew up in Cheney,
Right. That's the first time I went to Spokane. And so I've been there a few times, and I just thought to myself, this town is frozen in 1890, maybe 1888. Like 1880s.
So funny. Yeah.
Because where the waterfall is and stuff, and the power plant and stuff, that's all late, not even late, like mid to late 19th century. And you, as somebody from an outsider, you really feel that.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think that downtown, it's growing more, and I love a lot of parts of Spokane, but there are definitely some very rough parts still. And I talk about like my parents met playing in a professional foosball tournament. Like it's a lot of that kind of white trash, stereotypical vibe that you would picture. And so that's why I exist, is from foosball. Yeah.
So you got a white trash background.
I do.
Nice.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
My wife talks about that too. She loves her white trash heritage.
And
there's different kinds of white trash, right? There's trailer white trash. There's
different brands.
Yeah. What brand were you?
Well, I think I'm more of like the Carney brand.
Oh, Carney white trash.
Yeah.
That's a unique subset. Congratulations.
Well, special. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. I think with that crazy, the foosball background, that I wouldn't exist if it weren't for foosball, which is like so sad and weird. But that's that sort of Carney vibe, is people who invest their lives into like an arcade game and then continue it throughout their life.
To be fair, I would argue that became a very elevated status with video games and things. It's kind of the same group with an education. So were your parents educated?
They are kind of an anomaly in the foosball world. My mom has her master's in French literature.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but She's from Idaho, and when she was in college, that's when they first put foosball tables into bars. It was right around that time. It used to just be darts.
Team called Racine or something. What's the name of her team?
That is too funny. Yeah, so she.
What kind of French literature?
I mean, I don't know the specifics, but well, she was my high school French teacher. So
better and better.
Yeah.
And so
she's she's like in the Foosball Hall of Fame. She's this she's a very fascinating woman to be so, I think, highly educated, but also she just loved foosball, especially right when it hit the scene. And then she kind of dedicated a huge portion of her life to it.
Did you ever ask her what it was that she loved so much about it?
I think she grew up playing sports, but was never particularly, wasn't going to go to college for sports or anything like that. But foosball, what's so great is that you don't have to be really, really strong to be a great
to turn a little lever. You don't have to be strong or mobile.
I will say, I mean, some of these dudes are. I will show you some videos after this, and I think it'll change your mind.
But the other thing, did she play a musical instrument? Because a lot of wrist stuff.
A lot of wrist stuff. Yeah. A lot of active wrists.
Yeah.
I think she played piano a little bit. So there you go. That makes sense.
Goes with the French literature background.
Yes.
But you don't know what kind of French literature, even though she was No. Did she ever talk about favorite books or anything in French?
I mean, I'm sure she tried to kind of push that on me when I was young. But when you're a kid and
and she's your mom. Oh, Jesus. All right. That's your mom and your dad.
That's my mom. And my dad is a professional musician. So he's a trumpet player for a living, and
crazy.
Yeah.
I just immediately think foosball when I think about trumpet.
I know, right? Such a direct correlation. It was this weird kind of melting pot of just bizarre, I don't know, hobbies and interests that my parents made.
Did they do it to socialize? Is it kind of because you're in Spokane, to be fair, and
yeah.
Were they in Spokane? Are they from Spokane?
Yes, I think at the time when they met, they were both in Spokane. And the foosball tournaments had become kind of a weekly thing there, and there were foosball tours happening. So they would go out and make money.
So I'm not. Oh wow! As what?
Well, so the tournaments.
If you win the tours, you get money.
The tournaments, it's like gambling. I still go play in the tournaments, so I also play competitively. But it's like gambling where you have to pay an entry fee, and then you hope you place well enough in an event
like a
to
poker
win money back. Yeah. Way less cool, but yes.
Yeah. So I'm not buying the white trash background. I'm buying the white.
The foosball doesn't convince you.
It qualifies as white trash adjacent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. That's
but
fine.
All the education and stuff. And did you live in any kind of?
We didn't live in squalor or a trailer or anything like that. But I didn't grow up.
No, I understand, but
much.
I'm not buying the white trash.
Much money.
I'm not buying it.
It wasn't 8 Mile. I'm not Eminem and shit. I'm not claiming to be that.
Damn.
But. What if I was? Really, that would take this podcast into an interesting place. But I don't know.
But the reason being, I'm imagining that you had adequate supervision.
Definitely.
And there wasn't domestic violence or domestic abuse.
No domestic violence. My mom would. Sometimes I would have babysitters on a lot of weekends for her to go play foosball at the bars till 2 a.m.
So some neglects. We're getting close to comedy here. Good. Some neglect.
Right. But my parents, they did get divorced when I was 5. So that's, I think, where that, any sort of trauma that would breed a comedian started.
Did you have siblings?
I did. Yeah. Or I still do. They're still alive. Yes.
Older, younger?
Younger. I was the oldest. So my brother is 5 years younger than me.
Oof. He was really young.
Really young.
Did you have to take care of him?
No. That was, I will say, the better part of the divorce was that my parents were both still very involved. There was no okay, I'm leaving, bye, I'll see these kids.
No abandonment.
No
just
abandonment.
Just neglect.
Just emotional abandonment of feeling, that feeling of my parents are getting divorced. And I think my dad married a woman who was the polar opposite of my mom. So my mom is very, very liberal. I talked about this on the Honeydew podcast that when I wanted to lose my virginity to my high school boyfriend, I arranged it with my mom. I scheduled it. I was like, hey, Adam and I want to have sex for the first time on Friday. Can you go see a movie so we can have the house? She's like, yeah, use protection.
Did she give you the protection and everything? Good. All right.
Yeah.
You can sign off on that.
So it's how do you feel about that as parenting?
How old were you? You were 11, so, so not so good.
I was 9. No, I was 17.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting in that it's so accepting it's weird or it's uncomfortable. Right. It's uncomfortable.
Right.
But if somebody can pull that off, okay.
Yeah.
As long as, you have to, that's a pretty interesting move to make, because you have to really be sure that your daughter's ready and the guy's okay, and so a lot that goes into signing off on so completely. Because you'll be held accountable as the parent if it doesn't go well.
Exactly. Oh my God! Think about if I gotten pregnant the first time, like that would be,
or it was aggressive or whatever.
Yeah. Oh God, you're right. Yeah. That could have gone a lot of directions.
Yeah.
I think she knew I was very like Lisa Simpson type, like honors student. She knew I was gonna be responsible.
Play the sax.
No, flute.
Perfect.
Could have played sax.
It's getting more and more perfect. So the comedy began with the divorce. That was the nidus.
I think so, because my mom was, this kind of like almost hippie, trusted me so much, almost a best friend vibe. Ooh. And then my dad's house was very strict. He married a Catholic woman, and then that kind of became part of the vibe of that house, was like a lot of rules, very strict. To me, they felt like parents and not really people. Whereas my mom almost, I looked at her as my parent, but she was so much just herself with me, for better or worse. Like I really did feel like she was my best friend, or one of my best friends. But my dad and stepmom, it took me many years, after high school even, to feel like, oh, I actually know them as people, because they would only show me like the parent mask.
Right. So what's interesting is that's the more normative parental experience.
Exactly.
And that's what how parents do their thing.
Yes.
And it's why kids get angry with parents, and it's later they go, oh, I see who you are. I see what you're doing.
Oh, I've seen you with a couple beers now. And, okay.
Or the thing that really breaks it through when people have kids and they're like, oh, that's okay. This is difficult. I get this.
Yeah. And as I've gotten older and through therapy, I've been able to take a more, I think, objective look at my parents' divorce. And for a lot of years, I think I really demonized my dad and stepmom and felt like it was, so selfish and all their fault, that my brother and I had to kind of go back and forth between these polar opposite environments every couple days. But then you get older, and like I'm married now, and you have more experiences where you realize like they're just people, and like nothing's black and white. I don't think either my dad, mom, or stepmom are bad people or completely good people. I think sometimes just in marriages you go, okay, this isn't working.
They're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And you found forgiveness and peace with all this, and you don't feel internally split by it, because that's the kind of feeling you feel split as a kid.
Yeah. Very pulled back and forth.
Which is the next stage toward comedy.
Yes. So. I think it was a lot of pent up, like rage and just needing an outlet. I think it was very, it could be oppressive at times at my dad's house. There was like no swearing, kind of wanting to shelter us. And then my mom's house, it was like I'd get a swear and kind of do whatever I wanted. So comedy was just this great outlet of like, oh, I can go say whatever I want and see how people react to it. And,
When did that happen? How old were you?
20.
When you first did it? Mm-hmm. How'd you know to go do it?
I started college as a math major. I thought I wanted to teach high school math, and then got to, I think it was calculus 3, and my brain was bleeding out of my ears and I hated it. So I started doing improv with my university's improv troupe, and then a few of them would go do open mic, and I tried it there. And I always feel like if it goes even mildly well the first time, you're so addicted. You're like, I have to see where this can go. So that was kind of my introduction to it.
So you started with improv and then stand up?
Yeah, improv, it was very short-lived. It was kind of my first dipping my toe into, okay, I'm not doing the math major anymore. Let me start to feel out what it would be like to pursue something creatively, which is what I think ultimately always wanted to do. But again, being type A, that was terrifying to think about pursuing a career where there's no structure in this. There's no, like, you can't major in stand-up comedy. Nobody tells you, okay, you do this, and then you go to this next school for 2 years, and then you just do it for 30 years professionally. Like, no, that doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah.
You just, like vagrants, you run around from place to place.
Oh, God, just fucking every horrible comedy club. And then you'll get kind of discouraged, I think, early on, because you'll see guys who have been on the road for, like, 30 years, which you think is your goal. And then some of these people, it's just like, there's fucking ranch coming out of their pores. Like their skin just like looks like breaded chicken. Like they just look so malnourished and like
they haven't seen the sun in a while.
Yeah, just like gray. And you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like this young girl. I could probably do anything. And yet I'm like in North Dakota.
So what is that? What's the hook?
It's the best feeling in the world.
When you kill.
Yeah.
And sometimes and the killing comes sort of randomly, doesn't it? So it's the ultimate reinforcement. So random events segregate. Random events that reinforce is the most powerful reinforcer.
Most powerful.
So if you get reinforced every time, it's not as powerful if you're just randomly reinforced.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're really hooked, because which one is it going to be the one?
Exactly. I think the longer you do it, hopefully the more consistent you feel that the sets are going well. But you still, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years now, and I still always have my fair share of like a shitty bar show, or I just started doing colleges, which is kind of a weird experience because it's usually for like 40 kids who are 18, and you're like, hey, like vodka's crazy, and they're like, we don't, what? Like, we're the kids, we're here at your show because we're not going out and drinking. Like, you understand you're for like you're not for like the fun.
Bring them the football material. They'll love it.
I know. They've been pretty good experiences so far, but
but hang on, because most comedians are avoiding colleges because they're such unforgiving environments. What's going on?
I haven't been doing.
Are you a millennial technically?
Technically.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
Can you relate to that population that's in college, or you feel different?
At times, I think some of my material I can connect to them with, but also, I've been with my husband now. We've been together for like over 7 years. So sometimes when I'm doing comedy clubs in LA, my material resonates well with like 40 plus people because it's domestication type of joke about like your husband, not clipping his toenails and like shooting with the door open and stuff that older couples are like, oh yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
But
so what do you do for college?
I mean, I still kind of just do my act. I'm like, they'll fade in and out. I try not to talk down to them. I know that's a big thing, is like they don't want you to go in and be like, oh, how old are you guys? They just want to feel like.
But offensiveness, being offensive is such the big
PC thing.
Yeah, it's the terminal crime.
I check beforehand with the college advisor. I'm like, are there any language restrictions? And so far they've said no. This is a pretty liberal college. Do what you want.
But if you say topic restrictions, they're very vague.
Yeah, I guess you're right. None of my jokes are ever like race based or anything. I think the only thing that could make a college student, an 18-year-old, uncomfortable is like a dirty sex joke, potentially, if they're very sheltered or something like that. But I don't know that it would ever be considered like offensive. It's just like, oh God.
So easy. Did you see the Alec Baldwin roast yet?
No, I didn't see it yet. What did you see it?
Yeah, because Corolla tipped me off that it was.
Was it a good one?
The dogs were out. Yeah,
Ooh. Yeah. What was like a great joke from it, or who did well?
Nikki Glaser killed.
Yeah, I love her.
Corolla did a good job, and at the end of his whole thing, he goes, I got to rant for a second. He goes, hey, all you fucksticks out there, this is our safe bay. If you're offended by any of this, and they were deeply offensive. A lot of trans stuff, because Caitlyn Jenner was there. And she took it, and they acknowledged that she really was a good sport about it. Because this is our safe, this is comedy. If you're offensive, go.
We need it. Yeah.
And so I think since Dave Chappelle, I think the pendulum is moving a little bit. So comedy can be comedy again.
Yeah, God, that would be
Did you see the Dave Chappelle special? You
Not yet.
You owe yourself.
I'm like halfway through Bill Burr's. There's so many all the time.
Yeah, Bill Burr seemed to be bouncing off Chappelle, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, and good. It's on again. Comedy can be comedy again.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah, agreed. So it's all trauma light for you, huh?
I suppose on the spectrum of what trauma can be.
For you, was it intense?
I think so. I mean, I think those years I was really unhappy for the time that I had to go back and forth between the houses and just.
You mentioned rage.
Rage, yeah. I think those years are very important socially when you're in middle school, high school. There's so much importance placed on being with your friends and not being left out and kind of being able to go do whatever thing is happening. And when I would go to my dad's, I kind of felt like I couldn't do that. I felt a little bit separated from people. And
were you depressed?
Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's hard to know.
But how did you manifest the rage? Were you a mean girl?
No. Was not.
Were you the object of Mean Girls?
Was I what?
The object of Mean Girl treatment?
I mean,
because sometimes when kids are struggling, kids
can be mean. Yeah. I mean, when I was like in elementary school, I remember running into a couple mean girls because I was just very innocent and nice and just wanted to, I think, be friends with everybody. But I don't know, probably not more than like the typical young girls being gossipy and shitty. A lot of gossip, right? Like everybody's constantly talking shit about everybody behind their backs.
I think gossip can be very aggressive. It can be a way of expressing rage. For sure.
Yeah. The rage stuff, I don't think you would ever watch my comedy and go like, oh, I'm not like a female Bill Burr. There's no like anger on stage really, but I think like when my husband and I got together, he's been sober now for 3 years, but there's a stretch of time in our relationship where he wasn't sober, and our fights would just get so angry. And I didn't realize I was capable of like feeling so angry. So I don't know. I just think the older you get, you can see a window into like, oh, maybe I have some pent up anger.
Was one of your parents an alcoholic addict?
No, neither of them.
Interesting.
And you know what's so funny? Because I was listening to the Jessa Reed episode before I came on, and I love Jessa. And you listen to like the shit that Jessa's been through, and I'm like, oh, I get why you would be like, oh, trauma light.
Compared to Jessa, yes.
Comparatively, yeah.
Yes. Jessica just keeps going. It's just
it's bottomless.
Yeah.
Bottomless. Yeah. And I felt that too when I met my husband, because his upbringing was very traumatic and abusive, and I don't think that should ever like minimize what you went through, but it did make me go, oh wow, I'm so fortunate to have had two parents who, despite no longer being married, gave me unconditional love.
Are you a caretaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say.
So that's the codependency, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Definitely for those years before my husband got sober was just kind of like trying to navigate, how do I do this? I never left, like we never broke up. But there were times where I should have probably left and been like, you need to figure this out in order for us to be together.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
What does he do for a living?
He's also a comedian.
Oh, perfect. And
yeah.
I was just thinking
there's some trauma in the making, I'm sure.
I'll interview him, see what's going on. Hey, we got to take a little break so I can tell you about our friends at Proactiv. They have a new product called Proactiv Md. I'm really excited to have these guys on board. As a parent, what is worse than seeing your kids go back to school not feeling their best? And look, acne is a treatable condition. Kids should not be having that problem. It is manageable. And with America's #1 acne brand, Proactiv has helped fight acne for almost 25 years. Again, treatable condition. And now they have their next generation treatment system, Proactiv Md. You want your kids going back looking and feeling their best? This is the way to do it. I use this stuff. Both the benzoyl peroxide and the new Proactiv Md have helped clear my skin, my family's skin. This is a great product. I'm especially excited because the additive adapalene. Now, I've been aware, and I've used adapalene for many years myself. I've got adult acne, and it's a pain. So you always have to use something. Adding adapalene is a major advance for Proactiv. Proactiv Md, adapalene is a dermatologist recommended topical retinoid. It's been used in the treatment of, and I've recommended it for years as well. Been used in mild to moderate treatment of acne. It's the first prescription strength retinoid or retinoic acid that is FDA approved and used in treating acne without a prescription. So it's over the counter, and that's why they added it to Proactiv Md. It works by controlling the retinoic acids work by primarily controlling the comedo production, so the pores stay open. Proactiv Md includes the same prescription strength retinoid I'm talking about. Benzoyl peroxide, which is another acne fighting system, deals with the oil production. Acne is bacteria, oil, and comedo. So it's addressing all of that. It's trusted, it's effective, it's safe. It's a 3-step system that will get you or any of your family members ready for the upcoming school year. Cleansing face wash, daily oil control with SPF 30, and the adapalene gel I was just talking about. And right now for our listeners, we have a back-to-school offer from Proactiv. You cannot get anywhere else. With your Proactiv Md order, you will also receive free Proactiv on-the-go bag, which features their T-Zone oil absorber, body acne wipes, green tea moisturizer, close to $100 value, plus free shipping with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So why would you wait? Go to proactivmd/Drew. Again, it's not Dr. Drew, it's just Drew, to get this special offer. Again, Proactiv, proactiv.com/Drew, and make your kids' first day back to school best day ever. They should feel great. Again, it's Proactiv Md. Check it out. You will not be sorry you did. And now our next sponsor is Candid. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but as you get older, your teeth move. And especially if you had braces when you were younger, if you haven't been wearing a retainer, oh man, they move a lot. And if you've been thinking about, back in the day, by the way, they didn't completely finish the job. I'm here to tell you that. And so I use exactly what we're talking about here. It's Candid. It's an alternative to braces. It's clear. Look at this. Yeah, don't feel a thing. You don't see a thing, right? I'll keep wearing it. It's what they do is they give you an orthodontist who's licensed in your state, create a treatment plan for you, and Candid only uses experienced orthodontists. They create a 3D preview of what your final results are like. It's using technology. This is an advance. This is an easy way to do this. You don't have to wear braces anymore. And if you're back when you did wear braces, they didn't finish the job, which was my case, or your teeth moved, think about it. Once you approve that 3D preview, Candid creates a custom clear aligner. They'll be sent directly to you. No hassle of having to go to an office or anything. Candid costs 65% less than braces. You can save thousands of dollars, have straighter, brighter teeth in an average of just 6 months. You're one step away from getting straighter, brighter teeth. Learn more at candidco.com/Dr. Drew, candidco.com/Dr. Drew. This one is Dr. Drew, DRDREW, no period after the doctor. And use code Dr. Drew to get $75 off. Great deal. That is candidco.com/Dr. Drew. Again, code Dr. Drew for $75 off. One more time, candidco.com/DRDREW. And let's get back to the show. Well, let's help the peeps and let's look at some videos. Do we do the clips now, or let's do some emails maybe? Let's start out light and easy.
A little light. Should I put these headphones on?
Yeah, because we'll
hear about people floating in shit in the sewer or whatever.
Yeah, if you want to see those, we can.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Say the word. We could have them ready.
Oh God, no.
Here's a question: is there a scientific explanation for? My viewers have command of the English language. They have a special way of communicating.
Firm grip. Okay.
Here we go. Is there a medical explanation for post-nut clarity? I always feel like I have hyper-clarity of thought after making white, whether with someone or by myself.
White.
Yes, that's
a new one. I haven't heard that.
That's our people. That's really a Kreischer Segura thing.
Yeah.
The serotonin surge afterwards for some people can improve their mood, and this noradrenergic surge and serotonergic surge that can give you a sense of hyper focus. Sure, a lot of people get sleepy afterwards, but your brain's in a different state, so that makes some sense. Right. My situation is my wife has had a friend for 10 plus years who's becoming very unstable. 2 months before our wedding, she completely ghosted us, refused to be on our wedding. She has a history of bouncing between telling us how much she loves her and how great she is and how grateful she is, positive, then out of the blue, things like telling my wife what a terrible friend she is. Okay. I think she has a borderline personality disorder. I think that's right.
My ex had borderline personality disorder.
Ex-boyfriend?
Uh-huh.
That's unusual in a male.
Yeah, I know it's more prevalent in women.
And when it happens in males, it is very difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Oh.
Yeah, sure is.
We need to know more about you. What are these guys you pick? What's going on?
I know.
How'd that happen?
I know. For having two parents who gave me.
Was it before therapy? Well, it was part love, part abandonment,
It was
right?
before therapy.
Yeah.
My therapist was the reason I realized he had borderline.
You sure it wasn't just like a severe narcissist? A little more common. I mean,
it was pretty textbook.
For a borderline for a male, it'd be a lot of fabrication, a lot of, you said this to me when you said nothing like it, and that kind of thing.
It was... Yeah, I mean, when I did the honeydew with Ryan Sickler, we pulled up the symptoms as a refresher, and I mean, it really was every one. When I went into therapy after that relationship had ended, because it was obviously get together, break up, get together, break up. Finally went to a therapist. Was I need to help stop going back to this, and described him for maybe 30 seconds. She's like, oh, borderline. I was like, what? And then she just opened.
And not a drug addict.
Was using weed as a drug addict would, I think.
But no other drugs?
No, but using it to cope.
Okay.
At the time, I've heard that since he does, but I don't know.
Because addicts can look borderline too. If he might be using something else, he didn't know it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? What do I think? What have you? We have a bet on if you think she does or she does not. Choose wisely. How can we best support her? My wife is deeply hurt by her behavior, but doesn't know how best to help her or how to respond to her at times. There's a book. Oh, look, there's all the borderline stuff. So it's extreme emotional. We'll read you the characteristics. Fear of abandonment. That's sort of the characteristic with borderline. They're preoccupied with the idea of abandonment, and then they
also fear of being smothered. correct? Like fear of kind of going back and forth.
Goes back and forth, and they'll cause abandonment is what they'll do.
Yes.
Because they're fear of abandonment. Unstable relationship, that's the hallmark. Is self-destructive behavior, shifting self-image. They have an unstable sense of themselves. In fact, sometimes when you're around them, you can think of them as different people. Like they look.
Yeah.
Okay.
He would call, and I would always be like, I'm not exactly sure which version of him I'm gonna get.
But sometimes they almost got into dissociative. Like, whoa, I didn't.
His voice would be like different.
There you go.
Yeah.
Feelings of emptiness, which narcissists feel that explosive anger, rage, narcissistic rage.
Inappropriate rage. I would feel like there would be times where I'm like, this doesn't make sense to be this angry about.
Well, they have what's called unregulated hostility. Which is a little different than they're hostile at times. That's really uncomfortable to deal with. Yeah, that's the big thing. So if she meets all those, she's got a borderline disorder in all likelihood. Very common these days. Trauma is the antecedent. Very common. Imagine that boyfriend had lots of trauma.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots of trauma for the males.
Yeah.
Any was it like religious trauma, like the priest?
No, medical, like born with like a medical condition that they were thinking he might not live past a certain quite young age, and I mean, and I mean have a lot of compassion now, but at the time it was very rough to be.
So there's a famous book on borderline disorder called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. That is the book. Did you read that book?
Oh, I did.
And did it help?
Yeah, I mean it changed my life.
I would read that book, and the key with the borderline is to just stay centered, to stay stable. Don't feed into any of this.
Also, the book Stop Walking on Eggshells was really helpful.
Yeah, that can help. So, okay, what's up, Don Drew? Sometimes when girls on top of me, especially in reverse cowgirl, my left ball ends up under my skin above my dick. Yeah. It can be quite painful. I have to push the ball back down into my sack. You don't know about this?
Above your dick?
So it literally will sort of roll back up into the inguinal canal where you can get a hernia. Whoa. And it sort of pulls back up in there for some guys. And
that's so high up.
And if there's a pelvis coming down, it can squash things. And so you can push it back down. It doesn't really mean anything.
How do you do it? How do you push it? Is it
just with a finger? Just
I was picturing you have to sneeze and like a lot of core work.
Hold your nose and sneeze.
I didn't picture pushing it.
Your eardrums pop out, the ball goes down. Perfect.
It's a trade-off.
I don't have any medical insurance. I fear I might have my pants too high and tight. No, neither. None of that. Don't worry about it. Do push it down though, because you can get things. You might have a hernia. That's one of the possibilities in all this, but not necessarily. Okay, let's hear some voice messages before we go to video clips for our guest.
So afraid of whatever video. Oh no.
Well, you should be.
My name is Claire. I'm from Chicago.
Clara.
I just had a question about my boyfriend. He has manic depressive, sort of bipolar, been diagnosed with borderline personality. But
I've got an expert here.
More often I'm noticing his manic episodes and how he's treating me during them.
Yeah.
It's becoming very emotionally affecting on me.
No kidding.
I'm wondering if there's any tips that you have for dealing with someone in the midst of a manic episode. I've controlled his meds, or at least counted them. I've advised that he goes to therapy, but he'll make up any excuse not to do what I say. His alcohol use increases, his drug use increases, especially marijuana, which I understand is fine for most people.
Not for a brittle
for him, it just seems like everything he does is very urgent. So if you have any advice on that, that would be great. Thank you so much. Love your show.
Okay. Without being facetious, because I could, say turn and run, but you should go to a program called Al-Anon. I think the addiction is probably more of an issue here than you realize. Somebody with this kind of brittle disorder who's also using is in serious trouble.
What is brittle disorder? What do you mean by that?
Well, when the mood swings are bad enough that, she sounds like he gets aggressive and violent.
Yeah.
And really, truly, she calls them manic episodes, not hypomanic episodes. So you worry that he's certainly not stabilized, and he's either not following up or not taking his meds properly, and he's using substances on top of that.
Got it.
In addition to having a mood disturbance, he may have a personality disorder. A lot of overlap between bipolar and borderline. I'm sure you can kind of see that because the moods are all over the place with borderlines.
Yeah.
If you have a true manic episode, that is bipolar disorder, bipolar 1, but sometimes it can be the drugs that induce it. So it's very, very complicated. As long as he's using, this is going to be a nightmare. So that's why I'm saying go to Al-Anon and get some support. That's about all you can do. And then make sure he follows up with his doctor. And you can always report to his doctor what's going on. If things get and don't don't be afraid to call reinforcement. I mean, if there's domestic violence, report it. I mean, just let the axe fall where it needs to fall. If he's not taking care of himself and his behaviors as a result are becoming dangerous or illegal, put the axe down. Yeah. That's it. He's got to have consequences or this will never change.
Oh, yeah. Did she say boyfriend or husband?
You guys hear it? I thought she said boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, boyfriend. Yeah. I mean.
And you've been there. What would you say?
I've been there. To me, if they are willing to change and work on it, then I think that's a reason to stay. If they're not, then I think you need to take care of yourself and go. I mean, that's the difference between my ex and my husband is like my husband got to a place where he's like, I do need help. I'm going to get sober. And he has been now for almost 3 years, but like he went to AA and got in therapy. Whereas my ex, he knew that there was something wrong with him, but there's still, at least at that time, this was like 8 years ago, there was a lot of resistance to actually fixing it. So
some of the resistance comes from in bipolar disorder, you can develop something called anosognosia, where you don't see what's happening. You don't have insight into what's happening. And with personality disorders, you literally believe the problem is the world, not you. So why should you change? Because the problem is everything around you.
Yeah.
And that's very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Very unpleasant. One more voice message. Let's get one in here before I torture.
My name is Steve. I have a relationship question. I'm in a long-distance relationship, and we have a lot of FaceTime sex, but I also have been slapping my dick to all types of porn. So sometimes the FaceTime sex doesn't go how it should.
FaceTime?
Anyway, I just want your opinion on whether or not I should be slapping my dick to all types of porn. Piss on me if you're hydrated, beat me till completion.
This is interesting. I know.
Your mom's house community of people is just...
Don't blame me for that.
Real
blame
champs.
Segura and Christina.
I know.
But I love the way when people use these very strange and inappropriate turns of phrase, they always double down on it.
Exactly.
They're staying with it. They're committing.
Just to make sure you heard me. Yeah. I said slapping my dick to all kinds of porn. Did you hear?
I heard. And I think he said he was having like performance dysfunction when he FaceTimed somebody, his girlfriend, I imagine.
Like he's coming so frequently from porn that by the time it comes to like jerking off with FaceTime sex, it's taking too long.
Use the proper phrase.
When it comes to slapping his dick to all kinds of porn, it takes longer. I'm so sorry. That was uncalled for.
And it's like he has no chi left. All the chi has left his body.
It's drained from his chakras from slapping his dick.
And so if there is then you know the answer, slow down on the porn. And if you can't, that means there's an addiction. If you have a sexual addiction, you need to go cold turkey. You might look at SA or SLA. There's good programs out there that can help you out. 12-step does help. A lot of guys have porn addiction. It's a very common thing these days. And unfortunately, it's unpleasant to have to go out and do 12-step and sort of admit it, but you'll find a very supportive group of people that have the same problem. It's a tough problem when people really have it. But in the meantime, go cold jerky. Cold jerky. Thank you very much.
My day's
I'll be here all night. So let's look at a little video, shall we?
Oh no.
Okay, so I went deep into the vaults because I feel like there's a lot of old stuff that you haven't seen.
Indeed.
So there's this really interesting YouTuber that offers medical advice.
Oh my God.
And I would like to see at what point you start disagreeing with her. Her name is Rain Florence.
Rain
Florence.
Already not a fan.
And Kelsey hasn't seen any of this, don't forget. We may have to show her the cesspool material too.
You guys are really going to like her.
Okay, but do we have a stopwatch going? Because it may be pretty quick.
I guarantee it'll be very fast.
All right, here we go.
Hello everybody, Rain Florence. Welcome to my channel. Well, today is all about gargling with urine.
Oh. Okay.
A lot of people have written in to ask me, am I still practicing urine therapy?
Still?
Well, actually, no, I'm not. But I plan to start again.
Oh, of course.
I plan to start again
She's off her meds.
I have a cold.
Oh, my
Urine has ammonia in it, and it has antibodies. Basically, whatever's going on in your body, it's in your urine, concentrated. Your body does have antibodies that can fight off this illness, and if you take a little swig and gargle with it, sometimes it can help with a cough.
What sort of backcountry fuckery is this? Like,
you'd know.
I know, right? I'm like, wow, no, I am not. You're right. I am not as white trash as I thought I was. I'm not fucking.
You play the flute.
Play the flute, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
This bitch is gargling pee.
So the whole concept is off. The idea of something in your throat curing a cough in your lungs.
Did Jessa Reed teach her this? Is this why?
Maybe she did. We'll bring Jessa
looking
back.
For meth. Yeah.
Check this out. There is meth in urine and meth in semen, so be careful now. But the antibodies that might be flying around in urine aren't going to do very much. Your immune system is not just antibodies. There's a whole army of cells and things that are dispatched.
So the ammonia won't do anything either?
The ammonia will, if you swallow it, cause uremia. Eventually, because one of the
that's
key...
a bad thing?
Bad thing. One of the key sort of goals of urine is to expel. No.
I just said toxins and you don't like that word. Okay,
no.
Okay.
Because toxins are some more complicated topic.
Okay.
But it's just the ammonia she's talking about is actually what will accumulate and cause uremia.
What happens when you have uremia?
Oh, it can cause all kinds of problems. It's kidney failure, essentially. I mean, one of the key things in clear when that you need for your kidney function is these protein breakdown products, ammonia. Yeah. And then they accumulate. You can inflame the lining of your heart. You can cause pericarditis. You can cause all kinds of crazy shit. So it's not good for y'all. I mean, it's why you can't survive on your urine very long out at sea, right? Eventually, you're not putting out the ammonia.
So it's like, I've got to try this. I've got to try it on camera for the first time.
Oh my God.
Gargling with urine.
No.
Kelsey?
Oh, no. It's going to be...
Welcome to After Dark. Here we go.
This is...
way too much. Way too much.
I sleep in a tent at night. And
of course you do.
There are mosquitoes here. And so I urinate in...
Why do you have a cough?
A container like this overnight.
She's been accumulating.
And... I am it. Yep. Some people say this is gross, this is nasty, but
some people say.
Medications. What is gross is antibiotic resistance. What is gross is having to go to a hospital and be hooked up to an IV.
Which is something that it sounds like has happened to her.
For sure. 1,000%.
Yes. Yeah. There we go. Oh! She swallowed it.
Okay, so what does it taste like? It kind of tastes a little bit like beer.
Oh, because she's drinking all the time. Woo!
It doesn't really taste bad. It doesn't really taste good. It kind of has just like a mellow flavor.
I have to try it. No way, not even a chance.
Look at her dead eyes.
Yeah, she's...
Look at the light behind her eyes is gone.
What is going on under the halter?
It's like she cut a sleeve of a curtain and just tied it around her titties. Where is this? Does it say where she's from at all?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to guess Portland.
Spokane.
Spokane, yeah.
Let's set the whole scene, though. Look to her over her left shoulder there. Is that a pile of diapers in the background or something? What is that?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think she's recycling for her next video, or she's stockpiling
composting in her bedroom,
yeah.
if that's her bedroom. But she lives in a tent. This is somebody else's place that she's drinking her urine. And look, it's a sliding glass door to that bed.
Oh my God.
Isn't that weird?
I feel like this is Lemonade in Florida, wherever this is. This is just like,
you're right.
I feel like what people do. They just...
Kelsey, you're right. Germany or Florida? That's the question. Is this happening in Germany or Florida? And I think Florida. I'm tasting Florida here.
Oh, yeah.
Florida beer, they call it.
Wow.
Is there more to this epic?
I mean, that's the gist of it. I have a follow-up video with... I mean, there's a ton of videos that Rain Florence has made, but I think we'll be revisiting those in the future.
Give us one more. I got to have more. We need to know more.
I mean, I do. I am a little curious now.
We're curious about her now.
So horrified.
Not necessarily. You don't have to get into the urine or the brown or anything.
Here, we have one more clip in this series.
Just something to tell us about her.
I'll see how it does for my cough. I might do it a couple more times. But I just want to put this video out there so that, if you're struggling with a cough, if you're struggling with allergies, it's medicine of life right here in your urine.
Fuck your Benadryl.
What does she call it? Something
medicine of life.
Medicine of life?
Y'all don't need Claritin.
Just piss. So give us one more. Come on. We need to know more about her. Just something that.
Well, see, I'm in the process of just redoing the database. So this is just, I'm starting at the beginning. This
just
is what
anything about her, if you can come up with it. Just we need to know like where she lives.
Yeah.
All right,
do you think she's on drugs right now? Like as she's doing this?
Well, I get the drug addict vibe from her too, but no, not loaded.
She's so emaciated.
I get drug addict vibes somehow, but there's gonna be a more complicated story, I promise. All right, what else you got for us while we wait for more? What's her name again?
Rain Florence.
Rain Florence.
We
will bring you Rain Florence.
Here we go.
Promise.
All right, here's here's some stuff on the dating scene. Let me know if you guys agree with this stuff.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Listen, man, I had to make this video because too many niggas is talking against the beauty of eating ass with all these dumbass arguments about like shit in it or this and that, man. I think if you could eat pussy, you could eat ass. Eating ass is right around the corner, like the booty hole right around the corner.
Hold on, slow up. So hold on a sec. Hold him.
You could go one place, you could go to the next door neighbor. It's not that hard.
No.
No,
Asshole's in a very different neighborhood.
It is a different neighborhood, but it's nearby. And fan, not fan?
Not fan.
Not fan. Roll that back a little bit. Well, he gave some words to live by. What did he say?
Listen, man, I had to make this video because too many niggas is talking against the beauty of eating ass.
The beauty.
With all these dumb
Keep going.
arguments about like shit in it or this and that, man.
Yeah, there is.
I think if you could eat pussy, you could eat ass. Eating
words to live by right there.
I want the t-shirt. I want the bumper sticker.
Yep.
I want the coffee mug.
Yep, there you go. That's it. If you can, what's his name? Do you have a name?
No, just I support eating ass guy. That's how I have it.
That checks out.
Looks very sober.
I personally think just by like the biology and the anatomy of it, I think God would like, it was clearly meant for us to eat ass. That's why ass is fine. You got the cushion. You got like the cushion, so when you put your head in it, like you be safe. Like no harm could come your way while you eating ass, because you be safe in the cheeks. For me.
It's like an airplane neck pillow.
Aren't you in love? Is this the best guy ever? He's thought it all through. Come on.
I think it could be like a spiritual thing.
Yes, like, this guy's for you, Kelsey.
Wow.
Shit, feel me? Like your eyes start glowing, you go Super Saiyan and shit, man. Like niggas don't realize how divine and sacred eating ass can really be, because they too scared.
This guy, he's not going to cause any problems with his behavior.
No,
he's only going to help. Somebody's going to like this.
He's really spreading joy. I mean,
somebody for everybody. And I like that he's like figured out there's a pillow there. God meant you to eat ass.
We got the other end, the other side of this argument. Not the other side, but the other lane of it.
Okay.
Hi. So
she looks very disturbed.
This video is my official review of eating ass.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
please.
for it.
I want to hear it.
Hi. So this video is my official weekend. Recently, I had the pleasure of eating ass.
Oh,
People have asked me, Vanessa, why? And I say, why not?
Vanessa.
They have asked me, how was it? And I have given lots of thought
to this
question, and I have decided that it would be best that I just make a general review.
A spiritual?
Thank you so much for this.
First of all,
Kelsey's going to try it out now.
The experience a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, 6.5.
Originally, I rated it a 6, but I gave it some thought. I think a 6.5 is more fitting.
The internet is killing, is destroying a generation.
The pros and cons now. The pros of eating ass are the other person will enjoy it.
Okay.
Not everybody will enjoy it, but a lot of people do.
Okay.
Sure.
Another pro is that it doesn't taste bad. Most people think that it tastes bad, or
we're advocating a shower. And hold on a second. Hold on. There is something called oral fecal transmission of infectious diseases, which is the leading means of transmitting infectious disease in the world. We don't have a lot of it here, but it's because of contaminated water primarily. The fecal material gets in the water.
And also asshole.
Well, we call it the oral fecal route, but it doesn't. I'm sure when the professors of medicine called it such, they weren't thinking about eating ass so much.
Right.
So much.
And now the youth is just
they're ruined.
All day, every day.
But I want you to notice, again, over the left shoulder, I'm trying to figure out what is going on over there. Can you see that?
God,
it's like she's a cartoonist or something.
I also love how she left music playing in the background.
Oh, of course.
We need to put a music bed under this PSA. It's got to set the mood. We got to set the tone.
Name's Stephanie, is that right?
I'm not sure about that. I think this is like her first year in college. I think this might be her dorm or something.
It says green in that cartoon behind her. Green.
Yikes.
And in green, strangely enough. Well, is her name Stephanie, right? I've had about enough.
Probably. I mean, good head on her shoulders, though, right?
Huh?
Good head on her shoulders.
She aims to please. She doesn't hurting anybody.
She's got a relaxed.
I don't really. I'm a little confused whether it was a male or female who enjoyed her behavior.
That's a good point.
It's kind of interesting.
I could see either. Yeah.
Yeah. But she didn't kind of wax quite with the same poetry that our first man did.
Way preferred the first guy.
Yeah, I did too.
Eloquent.
All right. You got anything more for us? You got any more Rain Florence? Come on, are we done?
I don't know if I can handle more.
Well, maybe we ought to just do a glimpse of the cesspool for Kelsey, so she understands.
Come on.
Just a glimpse, just a little snapshot of it, just a frozen frame, even, just to let her know. In the meantime,
frozen frame is even too much.
In the meantime, we can maybe listen to a voice. There it is.
No.
Yeah, it's our favorite.
No.
Yeah, in a leather outfit. It's beyond. Just pretend it's not. Pretend it's a mud bath. Pretend it's not shit. Yeah.
No.
It's too much, isn't it?
Why?
Okay, stop. I like the way it's called the live leak.
How is he alive?
Oh, that's on the website.
Yeah.
How is he alive? Tell me this. We just talked about fecal contamination.
I'm more interested in how does he exist?
Yeah.
How does that exist?
How do you become that?
Right.
You got to get him on the show.
Oh, done.
If you want
done.
trauma.
Done and done. Yeah. Talk about a little. When I asked you about how you acted out your rage, it was things like that I had in mind. So.
Oh no, I wasn't floating in shit,
nothing
but.
Like that.
Here, Drew, I actually have one more voicemail that I think.
Yes. That's what I was going to ask for. Please.
All right.
Then
the beginning's a little distorted, but I think it's a good question.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Joe. It's Dominic from Milwaukee. Here in Milwaukee, we've had 4 cases where people have died from not nicotine, but the THC cartridges.
Yeah.
But now, since that's been happening, everybody's been saying that nicotine's bad for you and all these jewels are going to be killing people. Just wanted to get what your input was on this.
Okay.
Beat me, piss on me. Yeah.
Whatever. Thank you. It's just a greeting. It's just a greeting here at your mom's house. Just relax, Kelsey. Don't be more like your mom. That's all. So here's the deal. Here are the facts. What happened in those situations where people developed respiratory failure was because so far every single case was involved a THC product. Most of them were black market products that rather than completely volatilizing the product, it turned into an oil. The oil was inhaled and covered all the little sacs in your lung. Remember your physiology? Mm-hmm. Every single one was coated with oil, so they did not work, so you could not oxygenate. Wow. So the lungs failed, and there's no way to restore oxygenation once that happens. You're done. And so these people were dying because there was such limited oxygen exchange across the alveolar membrane. That's what's called. Now, there's been and continues to be a weird moral panic around nicotine products with Juul. Every medical research publication that has come out evaluating the vaped nicotine products as a smoking cessation product superior to everything else. Tobacco is the problem. Nicotine is harmless for adults. Harmless, which is why we routinely will addict people to the nicotine gum to get them off tobacco, tobacco is a shit show. Tobacco causes heart disease, emphysema, and lung cancer of various types. Tobacco is the problem. Mouth cancers, tongue cancers. It's tobacco. Nicotine is what addicts, and so people confuse the addictive chemical with the ill effects of the tobacco. Oh. So you can take nicotine all you want. It's actually a good weight loss product in reality. What we don't know is the real impact of addicting adolescents to nicotine. So the concern had been that these flavored products were directed at adolescents. That is a legitimate concern. I support the government having shut that all down because the companies were given an opportunity to change their marketing. They did not. Shut down the flavored products. There had been a couple of adverse lung reactions with flavored products as well. So let them do the studies now to evaluate all this. It'll take some time. In the meantime, the nicotine products remain available. Keep using the nicotine products if you're a tobacco smoker. Nothing could be worse than people returning to tobacco. This is a weird moral panic that is not built on any science. It is fake news for the most part. You notice how all the vape stories about the lung shutdowns, the lung respiratory failures, they don't even tell you that it was all THC products. All of them.
Oh,
all of them.
I had no clue.
They had nothing to do with nicotine. So, all right, good thing. Here's one last email. I've been dating my girlfriend for 3.5 years. She is significantly younger, 7 years. Had a few boyfriends before me, but was a virgin when we began dating. I've had about a dozen sexual partners, been successful experiences, most of them. She wanted to wait until she was married, but after dating 3 years, she decided she was ready. We've been having oral sex pretty much since we started dating. I've tried many forms of stimulation, helped pick out vibrators, encourage her to explore herself, maybe some form of therapy due to her anxiety. I try to be supportive, but it's frustrating not be able to have your partner have an orgasm.
Oh my
So
God.
this is a common thing.
Yeah.
And if she's young, she will have an orgasm eventually. That will happen.
Does it say how old she is?
It doesn't. It says she's younger. If she's in her teens or early 20s, that's not uncommon for some women to have really difficulty achieving orgasm.
Yeah.
You want to give any worldly advice as a female?
In my younger relationships, I remember like I would orgasm, but it wasn't, I know that as I got older and I figured out more like what felt good for me, then I would be able to come I come really easily now. Like I can.
With intercourse or with oral sex?
Both.
Which is a very relatively small percentage of women.
Easier in intercourse or masturbating than through oral sex.
Interesting.
But
can you have multiple orgasms?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I usually have multiple throughout.
Okay, so women that can orgasm with intercourse often can have multiple, and some that have multiple find oral sex very unpleasant. So the more multiple you come, the more the oral sex becomes unpleasant. But that's a very small percentage. Most women cannot orgasm with intercourse and require oral sex or some kind of direct stimulation.
Interesting.
That's most.
I honestly can usually have about 10 in.
You're pissing people off now.
I'm sorry. I'm just bragging a little bit. I'm sorry. But I don't but oral is not a go-to for me. Like to be done to me, it's not. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So as you get more that way, that's sort of the alchemy of all this.
Huh. I did not know that.
But this woman is not going to have an orgasm with intercourse ever. That's not going to happen for her. When she does have an orgasm, it's going to be through some sort of direct stimulation. My bet is you're trying too hard. It makes her anxious. You're probably overstimulating. You have to be a little much more gentle. You might want to read on the topic. But don't put all the heat on her. It will it will come around. So.
We just bought sex toys for the first time in our relationship. I have never owned a sex toy because the first time, I've talked about this before on podcasts, the first time I tried masturbating, I used my mom's handheld manicure tool as a dildo, and I didn't know I was allergic to latex, and my vagina swelled shut and I had to go to the emergency room. So I for 10 years was traumatized, didn't want to do anything, and just recently bought a vibrator and all this stuff. I'm like, this is amazing, but for a long time I was terrified.
Did I hear you have a IBS too?
I do. Yes. Did you hear the shitting in a box story?
I did hear that story.
Thanks. My glories on the internet.
I have to listen to the podcast. You don't share it
here. The masturbation story is on YouTube with This Is Not Happening on Comedy Central.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So now everything's good. Everything's good in your marriage and stuff. Everything's
great.
Working out, so.
Yeah, we've been married for 3 months now. Recently married. But we have an open relationship, which I don't know if that has anything to do with my parents' divorce and all of what my perspective is now on that.
So you're fearful of overcommitting?
I think I'm fearful to think that for sure only one person could make me happy for the rest of my life. And I don't know if that has to do with divorce or just this generation. I think is a little bit more, aware and looking around going, the divorce rate's really high. I would like for this to work out for the rest of my life, but I also think a big reason why sometimes marriages don't is because people put a lot of pressure on one person being it forever and not having any other experiences.
When kids get involved, it's a little more important to create stability.
Sure, yeah, I get that.
And you got to realize there are armies of people trying to help two people have a relationship. When you bring more people in, it gets very complicated. And plus, it's really hard to predict what feelings are going to emerge.
I agree.
When you're intimate with other people, and so it puts things at risk.
Yeah,
fine. But if you have kids, you don't want to take that risk.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know. We still don't know if we want to have kids, but if we do, I get how that maybe would not continue the open part. But like, I'm young and he's young, and I met him really young too. I met him a lot younger than I anticipated meeting somebody I wanted to be this serious with, and so I like having the arrangement we have. But
do you get jealous if he's with somebody else?
We don't talk about it. We don't share. So that's kind of the big part.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. Yeah, because we don't do it. We don't want to.
It works so well for the military. Yeah. So well. It's good to adopt that.
Thank you. It's really smart. We don't want to make each other jealous. We don't want to cause either person pain. It's just more like if you want to be able to have an experience that isn't going to like negatively impact our relationship, then, do your thing.
You just never know though.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. And no, you don't worry about STIs or anything. Everybody's...
we've just told each other, like, if you're going to do something, be safe and wear a condom. I'm sure that does like make more of a risk, but I don't know.
That's I feel like I'm your high school sex ed teacher now. That's where the risk comes from. It does not make more of a risk because you have no risk if you're not doing that. It makes
true.
The risk.
Yes. There's a risk. Yes.
Okay. All right. We will leave it there. Is there more to plug?
Self-Helpless podcast. My Instagram's at Kelsey Cook Comedy, Twitter's at Kelsey Cook, and website is kelseycook.com for tour dates.
Great. Great to have you. Oh,
sorry. One more clip to lead us out. Go ahead and do your end plugs. This will play you out, Drew.
Okay. I want to thank Kelsey for being here. Also, check out drdrew.com. Oh, Jesus.
No! God damn it.
The cesspool guy. drdrew.com, the family of pods that are there. Check out the Drew podcast. Adam and Drew. We've rebuilt the podcast studio for #YouLive This Life podcast, and to look for more from that studio as well. We'll check it out. And of course, we'll see you here. See you next time.
Bye.
All conversations and information exchanged during participation of the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.